things you can have in your possession. It's kind of like, when you date and you meet somebody hot and you waiting on that first text, that first text come through, you're like, yes. That's how it was at mail call. It's like when you get mail, you're super excited. On this particular day, I got a letter from my son, who was roughly about 7 or 8 at the time. And in his letter, he said, my mama told me why you in prison for murder. He said, Jesus watches what you do. Dad, please don't murder again. It was by far the most devastating letter I'd ever read in my life. And from that moment on, I knew that I had a responsibility to my child and to the young men and women in my community. And that responsibility was to leave a legacy of redemption and hope that they would somehow be able to grasp onto. Because I couldn't leave the legacy of being a convicted murderer as the last example of what a father was to my son. And so I challenged myself to break through the anger, to break through the pain, to accept responsibility, to be accountable. And I began to write. And I started off journaling, and I was able to write through the pain of my childhood, the abuses and all the gun violence and things I'd experienced. And I challenged myself to write a book. So I challenged myself to do it in 30 days or less. Because what I realized that I had never accomplished anything in my life of substance. So I wrote my first book, and I was like, that's cool. Wrote a book. Sighed. So then I challenged myself to do it again. Because to me, the mark of greatness is being able to repeat something over and over again. And so I went on to write several more books. I'm currently on book number 7 now. And so that process taught me a lot about what it means to be human. But I also realized I had an asset that most of the men I was incarcerated with didn't have. I was literate. And it was because of my literacy I was able to escape that environment with my mental health intact. And so fast forward, 2010, I walked out of prison for the first time after serving a total of 19 years in prison. Just the fact of getting out of prison, that was impressive in and of itself. But here's what I've done since I've been home. I began mentoring in my community and went on to win what was called the Be Me Leadership Award. From that, I ended up getting a fellowship at MIT Media Lab. That fellowship led to another fellowship at Kellogg Foundation. As Van mentioned, I went on to do a TED Talk which has over 1.5 million views. I teach at the University of Michigan, and I'm by far the coolest professor there because I go there with Timbs and hoodies on, and I only have a GED. Now, I had this wonderful opportunity to hang out with Oprah at her home and do this great interview that I'm super proud of. But more importantly, the work that I'm most proud of is that I can be a voice for the 2.3 million men and women who are currently incarcerated. And as I stand here today, I'm reminded that I created an opportunity for transformation to take place within my own life.